And so marijuana can actually be used in the medical field. In 23 states, which is 46% of America, and Washington, D.C., allows medical marijuana for patients in need. That's nearly half the U.S. that allows doctors to prescribe medical marijuana or cannabis to patients. Marijuana can relieve pain and nausea, and it can help people who have cancer or AIDS. In some cases, inhaled marijuana can treat neuropathic pain, which is caused by nerves. And in fact, it can also treat glaucoma, seizures, and cannabidiol can stop cancer from spreading. It can decrease anxiety and has positive effects to many other illnesses. Marijuana is less addictive than alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine. Medical marijuana use goes all the way back to when Shen Ning was the emperor of China in 2737 BC. The medical part of marijuana comes from the components THC, which eases the mind, and cannabidiol, which is non-psychoactive. People also say that marijuana, if it becomes legal, it will become a popular thing. That means underage people will be using frequently. For example, say that marijuana became legal right now, would the majority of the school go buy some? The answer would be no. Behavior doesn't change that quickly, especially when it's something that you're not used to, and it'll be regulated like tobacco or alcohol. There are different ways of consuming marijuana, such as spray, drinks, or foods, or vaporizing it. Also, marijuana isn't the reason for depression or schizophrenia to be a reaction to some people. It's actually because they have a genetic marker in their system. If you didn't know, marijuana can spark creativity and relaxation, which is why you see artists using a lot of marijuana in like pictures and stuff like that. And then to the point that it kills brain cells, with moderate amounts of marijuana usage, there actually is little evidence that it kills brain cells. The body produces its own cannabidiol, as well as it isn't marijuana all of a sudden injecting. It's the cannabidiol, and that's somehow killing brain cells. While researching, it mentioned that marijuana lowers people's IQs by 8 points, but actually the results of the study were only 38 out of 1,000 people, which is only 3.8%. There was another study where it tracked teens who used marijuana IQ scores, and there was never a relationship between the use and their scores lowering or, and that's it.
No, not now. Okay, so according to the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration Agency, marijuana is introduced or known as the gateway drug. This means that the marijuana can lead to other chronic or dangerous drugs, including crystal meth, cocaine, ecstasy, heroin, and many more, and we all know those are horrible drugs and never to take them. Therefore, we shouldn't take marijuana in the first place. Also, a survey was taken that reported that more than 2.4 million cases in the United States began to take marijuana. The details include that this data included children over 12 years old. That means at most there were 6,600 new users every day. This is also why people charged with marijuana shouldn't be freed from jail or prison. There are too many young people roaming the streets and will have more access to marijuana that may hurt them. Also, many people think marijuana should be legalized due to the reason that it's effective medicine, like Ryan said, but there is very little evidence that proves marijuana will cure the pain. There is evidence that it can relieve the pain, but if you keep on using the marijuana, the way you feel when you take marijuana, the pain, it will only be, it only relieves the pain for a short time, then the pain comes back. That means there's no suggested prescribed amount of how to take it. What if the user gets hooked? Therefore, if the drug becomes legalized, there is no taking the person from the drug and may also harm them even more. Also, there was a recent study that people who intake marijuana are 5 times more likely to become addicted to alcohol. 27,461 adults enrolled in the National Epidemiologic Survey on Alcohol and Related Conditions who had first used marijuana at a time when they had no history of AUDs. Each person was assessed at 2 points in time. The study authors discovered that adults who had used marijuana at the first assessment, again over the following 3 years, were 5 times more likely to develop an alcohol use problem compared to those who had not used marijuana. So, if marijuana becomes legal, people will obviously have more access to it, and many people agree that weed is a healing agent, and it can be, but has anyone told you what marijuana contains? Dr. Lawrence Wilson says it is high in cadmium, the most toxic of metals, and as it continues to be bred, the more toxic it becomes. Therefore, if it goes into the drug, it becomes more harmful to the user. Thank you.